Hello and welcome back to Asian Pulse. I am your host Sumita and thank you for tuning into Asian Pulse Television. May is our Hearing Awareness Month. We don't pay too much attention to our hearing when we are young, but as we all age, we lose our sense of hearing. So it is important to have our hearing checked. Now let's talk about COVID update. Now it is safe for pregnant women also to get vaccinated. And Pfizer has approved that children over the age of 12 can also get a Pfizer shot. And the third good news is that we have millions and millions of doses of Pfizer vaccination arriving weekly, so there is no shortage of receiving the vaccination. So you should register and get your vaccination done. We just had National Nurses Week. If you see a nurse, so please stop and let her know how much you appreciate their work. They are working non-stop, and especially now since the pandemic has started. One more, there is also National Police Week. They also do dangerous work, as we all see and hear that the bullets are flying everywhere. So let's take a moment to be grateful for them and for the work they do. I will be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Buying or selling a house is a difficult process. Get Prem Prakash from Saba Realty Limited to find you your dream home, whether it's your first house, upgrading, or investment property. Always at your service with a fast, friendly, and honest opinion. Prem Prakash will guide you through the entire process. Get in touch with him today for a free, no-obligation consultation at 778-840-5866. I understand how important it is to have a place called home, and it's frustrating using your hard-earned money on rent. Vic Prasad can make you a homeowner. Get pre-approved services provided to first-time buyers and new immigrants. You can qualify for mortgage even if you have bad credit. Call Vic Prasad now on 604-306-6647. Vic Prasad is associated with Craft Mortgages Canada Incorporated.
We have in our studio Baljinder Narang, who is here to talk about the election in Burnaby in June. So let's have a look.
In our studios, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Baljinder Narang. She is running for the City Council of Burnaby. She used to be school trustee for many, many, many years, and she is very active in the community, and I have known her for last 25 years. So I invited her in our studios to talk about what's next for her. So welcome, Baljinder.
Thank you so much, Camilla. It's so nice to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you for this invitation.
I was going to say, talk a little bit about yourself, because there's so many people who might not
know me.
Know you, yes.
Okay, where do I begin? I've kind of traveled a lot in terms that I was born in Uganda, and then I went to India for 5 years in a boarding school in Dehradun. And then I went to England where I did my A-levels. I graduated as an occupational therapist. I got married. Then I went to Zambia for a little while, and then I had 3 children in England. Then we came to Halifax, and that's where I did my master's in health education.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved to BC in 1994.
Okay.
So that's how long I've been here.
So was it too cold in Halifax?
Can I say that on TV?
Oh, definitely.
Yes, there were 3 winters we survived, and then the last one, I remember just digging myself out of the whole kind of
snow.
And I thought, what am I doing here? And then my husband at that time got his license because he's a physician.
Uh-huh.
He had to get his license. He had it for Nova Scotia but needed to get it for the whole of Canada.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And once he got that and he asked me, I go, yeah, we're not going to Toronto or anywhere, that we're going straight to BC.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was it. But you know, Halifax, I still have such fond memories of it. It is a beautiful city with very friendly people, and my kids loved it. I loved it, but the snow really got to me.
And then 6 months of winter, there's a snow
hard.
and very cold and
It's
all that.
very
And
hard.
especially when we are born and raised in tropical climate,
Exactly.
it doesn't matter. We never get used to that kind of cold.
That's true.
And
That
that
is
is the reason I was in the interior too.
Oh, were you?
And, yeah, and I had all my 3 kids in Kitimat
Oh,
actually,
nice.
and then I moved
That's
back.
how you know the Likas.
Yeah, that's how I know girl and Lakers, and there are a lot of people they moved here.
That's right.
So, anyways, so what did you do here when you moved to BC?
When I came to BC, I did have, as I said, I had my master's. I had to do my exams for occupational therapy as well, and I had to get that license. I got that license and I started working, but by that time I'd also got involved in schools. As a parent, I was very involved in the schools and their education, my kids' education, because I still believe, and to all the mums who might be watching, you are your kid's best advocate. So do stay involved in your kids' education, because you know your child best, and you're the best person who can go and speak on their behalf whenever it's necessary. That was just a plug for parents. But so I did that, and then do you remember Mr. Attal?
Yes, yes.
He called me one day, and I thought my daughter was in trouble. And he said, no, he says, Mrs. Narang, why don't you run for school board? And I looked at him, I said, Mr. I've never thought about it. He goes, well, I want you to think about it. And so he planted that seed in my mind. I didn't think about it myself.
So how long were you as a school trustee?
I was 10 years.
For 10 years.
2008
Is
to
it
2018.
2 or 3 terms?
3 terms.
Three terms, yeah.
Yeah.
And last year, when was the last election?
2018.
2018, you decided that you had enough and your children are grown up.
Well, not even that, Camilla. I thought I've done it for 3 terms. That's a good, solid contribution. And it's time to give new, young people an opportunity, because I'm still there to be able to mentor them, to help them, to kind of be there for them. But at least the leadership needs to move forward. And we were really lucky with the school board last time in Burnaby. We had about 5 new trustees that came into the board, and they've brought about some changes that I think are really, really good changes that have come about. So that was one of the reasons I felt that this was a chance to pass on the torch, if you will, to some young, inspiring candidates who are now good
Parents
trustees.
who
Yeah,
wants to get involved with
exactly.
their children's education.
right,
You
yeah.
need to have a voice.
Absolutely.
You cannot be sitting outside the fence and say, oh, well, if you want to make changes, you have to
You gotta
become
be there.
part of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So all your life you lived in Burnaby since you moved up?
in BC, yes.
In BC,
yes,
yeah.
pretty
You
much.
haven't been moving
No,
around.
I haven't, no. We just moved houses, but we didn't move cities, yeah. No, and my kids are all there too.
Yeah.
My daughter is married, she's there. My son is married, he's there. And my youngest is in England, but he's here now just because of COVID. But yeah, no, so I guess we're Burnaby residents.
Burnaby resident. And I used to be a Burnaby resident.
I know.
And the first time when you were running, somebody brought you to my house
I
and
remember
voted
that.
for you.
I remember that. I remember that very well. Yeah.
And especially the street that I was living in Burnaby for, so all the NDPs. And because you know how you can tell they have the signs, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
the orange
yes.
sign.
Yes, yes,
So
absolutely.
we know that we are voting for the right people. So tell me a little bit about it. The last time you ran, and I don't know how many votes, by how many votes, you were not able to make it to the council. So there is a by-election. Why is there a by-election?
Okay, so I didn't make it by 215 votes.
Oh,
which
there's
was,
nothing.
which was not a lot, I know. But we had 2 councillors that passed away last year.
Oh.
Nick Volko passed away in June, and Nick had been ill, so his passing was sad, but it wasn't unexpected. But then Councillor Paul McDonnell passed away in July, about I think 3 or 4 weeks soon after Nick. And that was unexpected, although he had issues, but they were never life-threatening health issues that he had. And he actually went in for knee surgery, saying that once I get my knee fixed, then I'll be a lot more mobile and active. And so he couldn't. He wasn't able to. I think complications set in after the surgery that took him away from us. So that created 2 vacancies. So we now have 2 vacancies that are for by-election. And I think, by-elections are expensive. And during COVID, there was a lot of reluctance to get it done. But I think the city is mandated to do that. So they're doing it, and election is now on June 26th. We have quite a few advance voting dates. The city decided that since we were coming out of COVID now, that they are very optimistic that we won't need mail-in ballots like
Yeah.
we did in the October election. So there will be no mailing ballots except for people who are, for whatever reason, not able to go themselves physically or whatever their circumstances are. So there will be some ballots like mail-in ballots, but not for general people. Just to give you some dates, we have the first advanced polling date is on June June 12th, which is a Saturday. And then for the week of June 14th to 19th, there are 5 days of advanced polls. I think if people are able to log into the website, they will be able to see which locations work for them. I know there are venues in all 4 quadrants and the Bill Copeland Center. So it's pretty widely available, and
You can go
it should
in.
be easy to go and vote in a safe manner. And I would encourage people to vote, and whoever you want to vote, but do please go and vote, because this is a very important right we have, and we should use it. And also because we're running with 2 women, and you know how much work we've done with women. We were focusing mainly on violence against women, but I'm looking at equity and anti-racism and those things that are so current in our lives now, and mental health issues. And women are the ones who are suffering mainly from that, whether it's abuse at home or whatever. So I think it is important to have women representation and women of color, because we're even we don't get those opportunities often, and I've been fortunate to have had it in the school board, but I think council is a little more difficult. As I said, I lost by 215 votes, which is not a lot, but I think it speaks to the fact that it's harder for women to make, especially women of color, to kind of break those barriers.
Barriers, yeah. And when you were talking about racism, and when you're talking about housing, violence against women, and Burnaby, as far as I know, is a very diverse. There are a lot of Fijians live in Burnaby, because they did a research or something and find out, always people think, oh, there are too many of us in Surrey, but it's not. It's more like in Burnaby. So it's very diverse. And when we're looking at anti-racism, they were saying that 350% has gone up, racist towards the Asian Canadian.
Asian racism. That came about earlier this month, and that became a huge concern. 350% here in Burnaby, but 700% in Vancouver, and I think 600% in Ottawa or something like that. So those are big numbers.
That's
They're
alarming
really big
numbers, yeah.
That would be a huge concern. So we had a huge campaign in Burnaby. It started off in Burnaby, as you know. We had the anti-Asian racism Day of Action on May 10th.
Okay.
And Doris Ma, one of my close friends, who is an Asian, spearheaded that campaign, because she said, this is wrong, and this is absolutely wrong. And people like us, people of color, do know what it feels like.
Yes.
We have been through it, we see it around us, and sometimes we don't have the courage to stand up or say anything, because we're so used to it that we don't even think about it. But then to stand up against it requires a lot of courage.
Yes.
It requires the kind of skill set that we don't have, because we're not empowered that way. So my concern would be to empower people, empower communities that, say, like if you are saying with the Fijian community, why should they not be empowered to be able to stand up for themselves and not take whatever is given to them? The same for the indigenous communities. Why are we not, being equal with them? And so look at all the communities that are in Burnaby, and I mentioned indigenous communities because we also have to focus on the truth and reconciliation mandate that we have to follow. We don't have to follow. We should want to follow, and we will follow. And I want to make sure
Part
that I'm a voice for that, to
Yes.
support, advocate for that.
And there are so many times when you think about indigenous and all that, they don't have the resources, they don't have the money, they don't have anybody to run because they think it's gonna be a losing battle. Nobody
hard.
supports them.
It's
and
hard.
any election, it costs so much money.
I know.
You should be putting out that much money, and not everybody has that kind of money. That is a sad thing.
No.
That there could be good people running, but just because of these resources with the money, people say, well, I need to support my family. I don't have time.
Absolutely.
Whenever my kids grow up and whatever, then they will
Yeah,
do it.
everybody.
And that's a very sad thing, because these people have very strong voices. They are advocating for their communities, right? I'm talking about
It's
indigenous.
real experience. They're talking about what their life,
Yeah.
their reality is, and so those are the kind of issues that I am very passionate about, and I just feel that if I was able to make it to the city, it would give me a bigger platform to be able to
Advocate.
talk about
yeah.
this and advocate and look at what opportunities there are to support these initiatives and be creative. So it can be really exciting, because end of the day, if one person can make a difference in the lives of others, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, it's nothing. It was a pleasure working on the school board, because I know I made a lot of difference in the lives of many families.
Yeah.
And I remember people coming up to me from different women of color, and not necessarily from my community, but even from the Asian community and other South Asian communities, and African communities, saying, we think we can talk to you.
And there's a huge number of African community as well.
Tell me, yeah.
By Edmonds Community Center and all that.
Exactly,
When you look
exactly.
at
And
that,
then when I
it's
tell-
such a diverse.
I tell them I was born in Kampala, that suddenly they say, okay, she's one of us. She
Yeah,
will speak to
she
us.
will,
Yeah,
make a connection
that makes
with.
so much difference.
I know.
So I just
and I
hope-
think, especially with this and by-election, that you have decided, or the city has decided, that there is not enough women representation. So they were not going to nominate guy, that there is 2 women that's going to be running, and there's 2 vacancies, because on the council there are more men, and when you look at the gender gap, so that's why we need to elect women, right? Women
And
are
gender
voices.
gap and age gap, because the person, the second candidate who's running with me in partnership is a young activist. She's only 24.
Oh,
She's Asian, and she is a strong voice as a green candidate. I'm sorry, for climate change and climate action. She is. She cycled from Ottawa to Burnaby to raise awareness of the Trans Mountain Pipeline. So she's feisty. She's good.
yeah. So under which banner are you running?
We're going under the same banner I've run with the Burnaby Citizens Association. It's a over the last 2 years we've had some really good changes that have come about in the organization. We did a huge consultation after the election, because there were people who were not happy with some of the things that were happening at that time. So we reached out to all our supporters, and people who didn't support us, or people who were not actively involved in politics. We reached out to everybody and did a huge visioning session and put together a strategic plan. And one of the main recommendations that came about in that strategic plan was that we need to look at diversity, inclusiveness, and we need to look at representation across the board. So equity and diversity and inclusion, these 3 things, the membership totally accepted, and then nominated myself and Allison to
be
run
running for
yeah.
the Burnaby City Council.
Yeah.
So
We'll
talk
see.
a little bit about, when I'm looking at the time, talk a little bit about the main day of election.
Okay, so the main day of election is going to be June 26th. Just so that you know, the results won't come out till June 30th.
Okay.
But we've got advanced pollings that are starting on Saturday, June 12th, and then Sunday we take a break, and then 14th to the 19th is a week of advanced polling as well. So that should give people a lot of opportunity to get it done and not necessarily wait for the 26th,
Yeah.
because there's going to be nothing magical happening.
Yeah,
You know,
on
with COVID times,
Yes.
nothing magical. So I think if we have spread out days, then people can actually go.
So
It's
can
8
you
to
tell
8.
the what hours from what
8 to 8.
8 to 8.
Yeah.
Okay. 8 to 8.
So that's
Yes.
that's a fairly kind of. I think it's a good opportunity.
I hope you come back. I wish you all the very best.
Thank
And
you.
I hope you to get you back and see what was your experience and what are some of the issues that you have been working with. Look at Saif Dhaliwal. He's been here
I know.
10 time elections and all that, and he's a huge voice for the city of Bannaby.
He is,
Yeah,
and
so-
he's actually done incredibly well.
Yeah.
Because he's now Metro Chair as well, which means he has to oversee a bigger area than
Yes,
just Burnaby.
that's what
which
you were
is
saying.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. I really
No
appreciate
problem.
your time. and
Good luck, my dear.
Thank you so much, Camilla.
Thank you, Baljinder, and good luck. Children and Mental Health Workshop will teach you how to help your child and look after their own mental health and how to best support them during their times of upset or distress. This is taking place on May 24th from 10:30 to 12:30 online, and you can get your tickets at cmhworkshops@bookwin.com. 50 Women of Options are raising funds to build a 100-bed low-cost housing for women who are fleeing abuse, homeless, and that need support. You can go on their website at 50womensofoptions.ca to make your donations. You will be given a tax-deductible tax receipt from Options Community Service Society. Walk for Alzheimer. Walk for Alzheimer is taking place across Canada now and throughout the month of May on May 30th at 4 p.m. So tune in to watch their coast-to-coast celebration for Walk for Alzheimer. If you are planning any events and you would like to promote your event, please send it to asianpulse@gmail.com. Please don't forget to watch Kamala Singh show on Sundays at 5:30 p.m. and Mondays at 10 a.m. Fiji in Focus every Tuesday 10 p.m. and 4 p.m. on Sundays. Viti Vibes, that's a youth show, will be starting on May 6th at 10 p.m. on Thursday and Sunday 4:30 p.m. Now let's do some yoga moves, easy yoga moves to stretch, to breathe and to heal our bodies. एशियन पल्स में आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत नमस्कार. आप सब लोगों का बहुत बहुत थैंक यू आज के योगा सेगमेंट में ज्वाइन करने के लिए. तो पिछली बार हमने सीखा था कि योगा की क्लास में सांस, नॉर्मल सांस, हर पोस्चर्स के साथ सांस कैसे लेते हैं, कैसे छोड़ते हैं. तो होपफुली आपको वो हमारा सेगमेंट अच्छा लगा होगा. तो हम सांस की ही बात कंटिन्यू करते हैं. तो इस मंथ में हर क्लास में हम सांस के बारे में ही थोड़ी सी बात करेंगे. तो योगा में एक वर्ड होता है, उसको बोलते हैं प्राणायाम. प्राणा मीन्स जो होता है वो एनर्जी, मीन जो सांस होती है. यम मीन्स कंट्रोल. तो हम सांस को कंट्रोल करते हैं, तो जिससे हमारे लंग्स की कैपेसिटी बढ़ती है. और ये फिजिकली, मेंटली, स्पिरिचुअली प्राणायाम का बहुत बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. तो आज के प्राणायाम में तो हम करेंगे अनुलोम विलोम. अनुलोम विलोम जो होता है तो वो हम बाईं तरफ से सांस शुरू करते हैं और जो पूरा अनुलोम विलोम करना ख़त्म कर दिया, 1 मिनट के लिए, 2 मिनट के लिए किया, जितनी देर के लिए किया, तो वो बाईं तरफ से शुरू होता है और बाईं तरफ ही बंद करते हैं. तो आओ हम इकट्ठे करते हैं. तो हम क्या करते हैं कि वो हम, क्योंकि हमने बाईं तरफ से सांस लेना है तो नाक जो होता है दाईं तरफ का बंद कर देते हैं. तो सांस लेते हैं लेफ्ट साइड से, बाईं तरफ से लंबा सांस लेते हैं, इनहेल. अब नाक को दोनों साइड को बंद कर दिया और दाईं तरफ से छोड़ देते हैं, एक्सहेल. अब ये जो छोड़ी हुई सांस है, साइड है दाईं तरफ की, उसी तरफ से हम सांस लेते हैं, इनहेल. नाक को बंद कर दिया एक सेकंड के लिए और बाईं तरफ से छोड़ दिया, एक्सहेल। अब फिर बाईं तरफ से सांस लेंगे, इनहेल, नाक को बंद कर दिया और दाईं तरफ से छोड़ दिया। आप मेरे साथ कीजिए, इनहेल राइट साइड, नाक को बंद कर दिया, बाईं तरफ से छोड़ दिया। बाईं तरफ से सांस लिया, इनहेल, नाक को बंद कर दिया और दाईं तरफ से छोड़ दिया। तो आपको होपफुली कि आपको पता चल गया होगा। अगर आपके पास कोई क्वेश्चन होते हैं, सजेशन होती हैं, सुझाव होते हैं, तो आप सब लोग हम लोगों को ईमेल कर सकते हैं। अगेन ये था अनुलोम विलोम। अनुलोम विलोम का बेनिफिट हमारी बॉडी को मिलता है कि हमारी ये जो लेफ्ट साइड की बॉडी होती है वो राइट साइड की बॉडी से बैलेंस होती है। जो लेफ्ट साइड के ऑर्गन्स होते हैं राइट साइड के ऑर्गन से बैलेंस होते हैं, और जो लेफ्ट साइड की जो हमारे रेस्पिरेटरी ऑर्गन्स होते हैं वो राइट साइड से बैलेंस होते हैं। तो होपफुली आपका आज का सेगमेंट आप लोगों को बहुत पसंद होगा। तो नेक्स्ट सेगमेंट में, नेक्स्ट वीक में हम एक और प्राणायाम की बात करेंगे। तब तक के लिए नमस्ते। Human being can develop these qualities is the real blessing. If you have missed Asian Pulse today, you can watch it again on Thursday at 8:30 p.m., Saturday 5:30 p.m., and Tuesday 3:30 a.m. Our show will also be uploaded on YouTube and Asian Pulse TV, so don't forget to watch. Fiji in Focus is every Tuesday at 10 p.m., again on Sunday at 4 p.m. I am your host, Samira, and have a great week. See you all next weekend. Stay safe and stay healthy.